everybody, and welcome back to Noodles at Noon, the show that focuses on things that are not worth focusing on. I am your host, whom is, I'm realizing now, and this is quite worrying for me, almost coming up towards 27 years old. We'll talk about that later as I barrel towards a midlife crisis. Hi, it's me, Ben, and we are joined, as always, by our wonderful friend and co-host, who is wearing a magenta hat today. It's Noah.
Hi, sorry, I'm re-engaging. I was checking my email. Thought I was maybe getting fired. I'm not. It's all good.
You have like 83 employers.
Yeah, that's true.
Which one did you think you were getting fired by?
The signage company that I messed up today.
Oh no. We'll cut that out. And we are joined by another wonderful friend and co-host and special guest, bona fide world traveler. It's Michael.
That's right. 8 states, 2 countries.
Yep, in 8 hours.
By foot.
You won't believe it.
It was a cycling trip, and he did well.
Yeah, and you can just stand in the 4 corners and be in 4 states at once, so it really makes it unimpressive when you think of it that way.
Exactly. Well,
cycling through Michigan in January is not a great plan.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even have to pedal. You could just put, like, skates on your bike. And
it's like a plane, like how, seaplanes have buoys.
You can get some buoys. And buoy your way through. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to Noodles at Noon. You can catch us anywhere podcasts are available, like Apple Podcast, not Google Podcast.
Rest in peace. YouTube Podcast.
Stitcher, Anchor, Spotify.
YouTube
Music, that's true. And coming to you live this week from, actually, my basement. I think it's the first time we've ever recorded down here.
It's my 3rd time ever in here.
Yeah, it is. It was Michael's first time meeting my roommates. He had to do the whole, handshake.
That can't be true.
Hi, I'm Michael. Yeah.
No, I've never met them.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
They've been scarce anytime I've told them Michael's coming over.
What did you think?
Austin was asleep on the couch last time I left here, and he was the only other soul in this place.
And he doesn't even live in this state anymore. So,
so that's how weird that is.
Tells you how long ago that was. So if you notice, I have hard floors. So if you notice an echo, that's why. We apologize.
If you hear body slams emanating from anywhere,
I live with a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So there might be screams, there might be various thuds going on, but that's okay.
This sounds so bad. Hey, so we're in my basement, so if you hear screaming children, just don't worry about it.
Just forget about it.
It's fine.
Don't pay attention to what you just heard. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a lot to catch up on because it's been quite a while since we've had our last Noodles at Noon episode. And I think we all had wonderful life events happen in that time. Maybe not wonderful. We've all had life events happen in that time.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure some
events of life.
There've been wonderful times. There've been hard times. When exactly was the last episode that we did? Does anybody know?
Late September. Check the show notes. No.
Late September.
Did we not do a Christmas episode?
No.
I don't think we did.
Because guess where we were for Christmas? And by we, I mean me.
I don't know.
I was right here.
We recorded the last one on the 14th of September, 2024.
Wow. Oh, were we going to do a Christmas episode and then it just didn't happen?
Yeah, we got busy and I got sick.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
In my head, we did that, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, so it's been since September, which is 5 months pretty much?
Yeah.
It's a good long while.
Wow.
Hi, friends. I haven't seen you guys in 5 months.
I
That's
saw
crazy.
you on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, you did.
But that didn't happen either.
Yeah. No, Michael was able to come to our Christmas Eve, and that was a good time.
I got self-invited.
Yeah, that's the best way to get invited
up.
to things. It's just be like, I want to come to Christmas.
That's what Jesus did. You know the Zacchaeus song where he's like, I'm coming to your house today?
Yeah, the wee little man.
Jesus just invited himself over to people's houses, so we should be able to do that too.
I agree.
Which is kind of how we ended up here, because I was like, hey, you can come to my house, and Mike was like, no, we're going to Ben's house, and Ben's going to cook for us.
That's how Michael gets anywhere. He just shows up on his own accord.
Ben didn't say no.
I wanted to have you guys around.
And the setup that we're using right now would not be possible probably Well, I mean, Ben could have brought it, but it's a lot easier if we just did what we're doing here. So
Yeah, where I work, we're planning on starting a podcast, but for various reasons, it's been pushed back and then pushed back and then pushed back and all that stuff. So we started buying podcast equipment because they were like, hey, Ben, you've done podcasts. What should we get? So I made a list of some stuff that would be good. And it's kind of just been sitting around with nobody testing it or doing anything with it. So I was like, hey, I have some friends coming over and we're going to record something. Would you guys mind? My cat is also sneezing. Would you guys mind if I just brought that and tested it out? And they were like, yeah, sure. We don't care. So I'm using a much nicer microphone than I normally do. We're recording into a very, very nice recording thing right now. And all of it is plugged into my 9-year-old Microsoft Surface Book, which is on its, I think, final leg. Its fourth last leg.
I've got 9.
Yeah, it gets 9 lives. I've thought several times that this machine had died, and then it just, I like shut it down for good, close it, give it a nice funeral, and then like a week or two later, I plug it into the charger, I open it up, and it's like, hey, Ben, how you doing? Like, oh, gosh,
Time to go
it
to
lives. I guess we're back to using this, and it's recording this episode, and it doesn't seem to be doing a bad job of it, so that's a plus.
Noodles at Noon has really thrived off other companies' equipment.
Yeah,
like back
100%.
when I had a job, we used to use my company's equipment a lot, and
Now you're just unemployed.
yeah, it's great.
Back when I had a job.
But we've gotten to use some nice equipment for this podcast that we did not pay for.
Exactly.
Pretty great.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been a while since September, and I think we should turn the table over to Michael first, because he's definitely lived the most interesting life since the last time we've talked. Do you think that's fair to say?
It's been a life.
He's lived
It's a wonderful life.
He's
It's
lived
been a wonderful life.
It's been an entire life for Michael since the last time
Correct.
we recorded.
Yeah, there's been a lifetime of things. So first, let's start from the beginning, and then start playing the Oscars music when it's taking too long. But from the beginning, soon after we recorded the last episode, I think it was like the 27th of September, I embarked on a multiple-day road trip to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where there I rotated on the medicine wards in the hospital in Grand Rapids. I was staying with an orthopedic surgery resident who had cats that I was pretty allergic to. So I pretty much hid in my room anytime I was home, which meant I wanted to be at the hospital, which was weird. So I would just waste time at the hospital until as late as possible. But she often wasn't at home. Fun fact, never mind, that's HIPAA. I can't tell you that. So never mind.
Never
Fun
mind.
fact,
That would
redacted.
that would be a crime.
It was her own HIPAA, but and she told me about it, so I can divulge it if I want, but I'll save it. Anyway, what happened in Grand Rapids? Did some antiquing, of course. I went to Detroit. I became human. Went to the Motown Museum. It was amazing. It's only like $25 for a ticket. Totally worth going. They're redoing it. It'll be even bigger in a few years.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that a lot.
What were the highlights of the Motown Museum?
Michael Jackson's personal hat and glove donated by him in 1980 something, 88, I think, with a check. That's all he gave him. He's like, "Here's my hat, glove, and a big check. Like, keep doing what you're doing." That was really cool.
This is a excellent travel hack for anybody that might be traveling in the next few months, years, whatever. Museums are cool.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. All right. So then, after Grand Rapids,
They have good food.
I left Grand Rapids. I finished my rotation just a couple days early. I was like, "Hey, I gotta get to Arizona by Monday. Can I please have another day off?" And they said yes. And then I said bye. So I took off, got home for like a day, and then embarked through New Mexico to Tucson, Arizona, where I rotated once again on the medicine wards for a month. Had a really good month. Tucson doesn't have too much to do in terms of museuming, but I was so busy anyway that it didn't matter. So did that. Anything notable about Tucson? It started like 90 degrees when I was there, and then by the time I left, it was like 70. It was gorgeous. It's really pretty. There's some parts of town you wouldn't want to live in, but other parts of it were like, this will do the job. And then after that, I had a week off in Phoenix where it was pretty much leading up to Thanksgiving, and we have some family friends that live just west of Phoenix in a town called Verrado. Look it up. It's pretty. And there they harbored me and brought me in for Thanksgiving, which was weird. We ate outside, and it was like 65 degrees and perfectly sunny and clear, and it was gorgeous. It was a great Thanksgiving. I did a whole bunch of interviews. I rotated with the nephrology service, the kidney people. Saw a lot of kidney and non-kidney problems, but...
Is that what they call themselves? The kidney people?
The kidney people, TM. That was a really good month in terms of learning. I didn't feel like I overexerted myself, but I definitely did in terms of hours I was still there. What else happened in Phoenix? Oh, yes. I went to Razor Emporium, which was the highlight of my life, pretty much.
He was very excited about this.
This guy in Phoenix has a company that he's had there for 15 years where he takes old vintage razors and refurbishes them and replates them and sends them back off or resells them for, increased value so he can make a profit. But he's also a distributor of all things like shaving brushes, blades, other companies' razors, his own razors that he makes in Gilbert, Arizona. I met him. He's like 6'8". I got a picture with him that makes me look really awkwardly small.
Yeah. He was, can we put this picture on the website? Because...
Yeah, what's the website URL?
Oh, yeah, noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
Yeah, we're going to put it up there. I laughed really hard when you sent it because...
Yeah, he's huge.
He's ginormous.
He's over a foot taller than me, and it shows.
Yeah.
So long story short, I went on Black Friday. He wasn't there, but they were like, hey, we're having a sale starting on Wednesday, so just come back. And then I think I did. I think I went earlier in the week after and just dropped in. I was like, hey, I'm here to buy this. And then he comes around the corner. I'm like, I know you from your YouTube. And he's like, yeah, come back tomorrow. We're going to have donuts and coffee for Small Business Saturday. So I came back, and sure enough, there were donuts. He did a live shave, so I'm in the back of this shaving video.
The highlight of Michael's life was going to watch this guy on YouTube shave.
I watched somebody shave somebody else.
So I'm in the background of this live stream just talking to some guy in the lobby who was I think a former EMT, now gone massage therapist. So that was really funny that we were just talking in the back of that stream for a bit. But when I walk into the Razor Emporium, all I saw was a half-eaten donut, a gold-plated razor, like a ring light, and a big bowl of water. And I was like, okay, I know exactly what's about to happen.
Ah, yes. A baptism.
Yes.
It's a baby baptism.
It's a baby baptism with a half a donut.
But after that, I got a personalized, 40-minute tour of his building. So he owns this whole building. It's kind of like a warehouse. He showed me kind of the front end stuff, the shipping, distributing, all that stocking stuff, and then back to where they get people's old razors, sand them down, polish them, all that stuff, and then also replate them in the room over, which was so cool to me. He let me hold the bottle of rhodium, which was like a couple $1,000s.
What is rhodium?
It's a metal, but it's a very pure metal. Like it's grayer than gray. It's like so purely white.
And it
it's
comes
very
in
prestigious.
a bottle?
Everything's a salt, so he has to dissolve the salt. But that one comes as a salt regardless, like in a solution. But then you dip the brass plated thing in it with the electroplating stuff, and then that's how you get the thing plated in rhodium. But it's a multiple step process. I could talk about it all day because it was so cool. But I won't talk about it all day.
A rhodium is also what Greedo was in Star Wars.
McClunky. I don't get the joke.
McClunky.
McClunky.
Someone out there who knows Star Wars species will get that joke.
All right. So anyway,
What you're saying is nobody's going to get the joke.
Nope.
I thought Michael would. But...
Yeah. No, that one went past. Maybe I'll get it later. But,
Maybe.
After that was really the highlight. Bought some things from him in store. And then soon after, it was time to head back home. So I got 2 weeks off for the holidays. And by 2 weeks, I mean about 11 days. And then I found this guy on the street named Noah. I was like, hey, I got to go to Lansing, Michigan. I'm going to go stay with someone named like Brian Stanley and Caitlin or something like that.
We just doxed Brian and Caitlin.
From the
Yeah, you did.
Journeys of Scientists.
Journeys of Scientists podcast.
And he was like, sure, let's go. So we bought some Feastables from Mr. Beast. We made a Try It Tuesday video that you can watch. And we drove.
You made a Try It Tuesday video that you can watch in horizontal, and it's about 20 minutes long, and it's on Instagram.
And it's perfect that way.
It did take us, I think,
6 tries.
I think each of us tried at least twice to post the video. It didn't work.
It took me less than an hour. I edited that video, the whole thing, on the shuttle ride home from the airport, and then it took us collected man hours to figure out how to post it.
So please go watch that video on the Noodles at Noon Instagram because
Which lives for the time being.
it caused many arguments between the three of us.
The video's up, is the point. Noah will tell you what he wants about getting there, but then this is the most recent stuff. But yeah, I stayed with Brian and Caitlin, which if you would have told me years ago that I would be living with Brian in his spare bedroom with his wife somewhere in the north part of the country, I'd be like, you're crazy. But we had a great time. He introduced me to some of his least favorite things, including avocado, onion, and not maple syrup in general. He does not like syrup. Huh. So these are things that he hates, and I was like,
did he introduce you to those three things at the same time?
Yes.
It's like, I prepared you a guacamole with maple syrup.
Here's your guac.
No wonder he doesn't like those things if he's eating them at the same time.
You gotta eat them separate.
Brian, those don't go together.
And then he introduced me to one of my new favorite things called Taskmaster, which I feel like Ben probably knows. He's pointing at me right now.
It's the TV show?
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
We watched, they call them series, which is very confusing me, 13 and 14 while I was there, I think. And it was tremendous. We would sit down like every night after dinner and just watch it until I had to go to bed, which was like stupid early, like 8:30.
Which was not long.
Correct. So we'd watch like one episode a night, but we got through 2 seasons. A series which was a lot of fun. I really like that show, and I'm going back. I'm on series 2 right now. I'm reworking.
Oh, they're so good.
So I really enjoyed that. I made their cat Gizmo P. Blood. What?
I was gonna say Taskmaster. It's Greg Davies and something Horn.
Alex
Horn. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
We don't care about that anymore.
I moved past that.
I made Gizmo P. Blood. So Gizmo went to the emergency vet, the cat, because he was peeing blood, and then the vet drugged him out more or less and put him on some really nice sedating medications, and then he did better. When Brian and Caitlin had to leave town, they sent the cat over to their father's house to supervise because I was not to be trusted anymore. They think I stressed the cat out.
I would really like Caitlin to leave a speak pipe documenting her side of you staying with them for a month.
Please, yes, I think that.
I got a lot of reports from Michael, like, oh, I think Caitlin's not happy with Brian and I.
Look, Brian really loves driving like me, which means trying to spin the car as often as possible on ice.
Which you can go to our Discord and find video evidence of Michael spinning his car.
That was an accident that time, but and I could feel Caitlin rolling her eyes at him, attempting to fishtail the car on like every other turn.
I will say the turn into Brian and Caitlin's neighborhood, both Michael and I like missed it the first time and like careened the car around the corner to make the turn, like slamming on the brakes at the last second. It's not a poorly marked intersection, but both of us, like the first time we pulled into the neighborhood,
so
were
it's
like
right off of a 50 or 55 mile an hour road, and there's no turn lane. So like Caitlin had a fair point. It's like, how do I balance? I'm gonna get rear-ended and smoked from behind, but also I need to make this turn that's coming up right in front of me. And I never figured it out. Noah texted me in the last week. He's like, did you ever figure that turn? I was like, no, they needed a turn lane right there. It's what needs to happen. Because there was no turn lane. And
where am I supposed to turn? Oh, I'm supposed to turn here.
Exactly.
The moment is past.
I think last but not... Oh, no, two more things. I went to Detroit. Again, I went to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. That was a $45 venture, but it was an amazing museum, like Smithsonian level quality. Some of their weird fascinations they had, Abraham Lincoln's death chair, where he didn't actually die in the chair, but he was shot in the chair. John F. Kennedy's death car, which he also didn't die in, but was shot in, and it's a Lincoln, so there's that weird connection.
Yeah.
And then they had someone else's... they had the Rosa Parks bus, which luckily isn't so sad, but it's still sad. But I got to sit in the very seat that Rosa Parks sat.
Oh, really? And you could sit in it?
Yeah, I just sat there for like 5 minutes, just nothing. No phone, no camera. I just sat there in silence. After I asked the volunteer, I'm like, which seat is the seat? And no one was in it. And I was like, ha! I sat down. I sat down after chuckling to myself.
Fascinating. Rosa Parks had the same reaction to the open seat.
Too soon. Gosh. Shortly after that, I had my passport very intentionally, and I drove to Canada. on the way to Canada, the Border Patrol people were like, yeah, you betcha, eh? And I went through the Detroit Tunnel, went over there. It was like 5:30 by the time I got there. I looked up an antique store, went there, met this guy named Maurice that gave me like life advice, and it was amazing.
Some people call him Maurice.
Maurice was incredible. Please, if you are in Windsor, Ontario, go see Maurice in his antique shop. This guy was very kind.
What? I'm so confused by.
It's a reference to that song. The what's it called?
I like to move it. I don't know. Maurice. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody's getting my references.
Try harder.
Your references tonight aren't working.
After Maurice, he told me, hey, just make sure you take the Ambassador Bridge back over to Detroit. I said yes. However, my maps, when I showed him, it was taking me on the bridge because he looked at me and was like, yeah, here's the bridge. There's a tunnel. Got in the car, started driving. Maybe I missed my turn, but I'm suddenly on a road that says tunnel to America, no turn, no entry, no re-entry. And I go, shoot. So I missed it, took the tunnel back. Hated everything about that to the point that I went back the week later. But when I got to America, they searched my car.
What'd they find?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Bunch of Mr. Beast
but
bars.
They popped the trunk, which was annoying. So, and then last but not least, one of my favorite parts about this ICU rotation I was doing has nothing to do with the ICU experience there. It was, first of all, sincerely, I was going to cancel this rotation if it wasn't for Caitlin and Brian and taking me in. And I left this in a little card to them. But this drive, again, is just daunting. Noah might tell you about our perils in Nebraska with the windshield. But it's a long drive. It's a long month to be out there. But being with people that I knew just made me feel a lot better. Like, I didn't cry once. I wasn't very sad. And it was just a good experience. And we went and ate at some places that Guy Fieri has gone to. And what else? Random
They
bars.
took you to Flavortown.
Wow. Taking to Flavortown. I get that reference. There you go.
You did it, Noah!
The Joker, Steve Miller Band.
Okay, thank you. But the one thing that Brian and I noted was that the license plates, some of them say Water Winter Wonderland, or as I pronounce it, Water Winter Wonderland. And Caitlin swore up and down that these plates did not exist. So I took a picture of it because I had the same discussion with some of the Michiganders on my rotation. They're like, that plate doesn't exist. So I found one in the parking garage. I took a picture of it, sent it to Caitlin, and I'm sitting on the couch with her, and she goes, this isn't real.
This is Photoshop.
This is AI. You can't trust anything anymore.
But after that, it just cemented the legacy of the Water Winter Wonderland plates in my brain.
Wonderland?
Yeah, I love it. I just love the Water Winter Wonderland, and that's what Michigan was. In the winter, it really is Wonderlandy. When I was there in the fall, it was watery?
Watery?
It was frozen watery.
Yeah, well, eventually. But that was, in short, leaving out a lot of details the last 5 months. But again, very grateful that Brian and Caitlin took me in. Left him a little card at the end to say thanks for all that stuff, too, because they didn't have to, but they did. And
along
I now
with
have
a
new
list of
favorite
everything
show.
he'd broken and hidden.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't prove that.
I set on fire many things. That's terrific. And you mentioned this, and this is a good segue into potentially Noah talking about some of his stuff. Noah joined you on a leg of that journey from here in Fairbanks, Alaska to Michigan. And that seemed like a fun time. And just pretend. Just
You won't make eye contact with me.
For the sake of the segue, pretend it was a good time.
Oh, yes.
It's like when celebrities are interviewed and they just have to be upbeat and positive. Yeah, it was a great experience.
No problems at all.
No problems at all. Michael made me stop at a Walmart and buy him a new tissue box because I used up his whole box of tissues. That's a true story.
I
mean, did you?
Yeah, it was
half empty to start with, to be honest. But
yeah, so I left it better. I left him with double what he had. So he should be so grateful. I defrayed the cost of his hotel room. I ate all my own food, so that was, and he paid for all the gas, so I didn't help with any of that.
Yeah, we ate at Runza. Did we eat anywhere else noteworthy?
Where else did we eat?
Oh, you had McDonald's. And I had gas station pizza, which was banging on the way in and out. So,
yeah, I think it was a really good time, and it was fun to like. Michael and I've never spent that long together before, so it was kind of fun, just to not just be recording a podcast or doing something, but just kind of like living life together for a few days, and it was really fun to get to see Brian and Caitlin, and Gizmo was probably the highlight. I took a lot of pictures of their cat, sent a lot of pictures back to Jesse, tried to sneak Gizmo home, but that cat's like 80 pounds, so not so easy to do. But yeah, I think the scariest part of the trip, it was one of those things where like, we were in a pretty dangerous situation, but neither of us really acknowledged it until the next day when we were like, that was really bad, actually. Because the weather had gotten, like, I think it may have been snowing when we left, or pretty shortly after we left, it started snowing. And it just kept getting worse and worse through Nebraska. And, like, we were fighting the whole time to keep our windshield from icing over. So the defroster was on like full blast. The inside of our car was like 90 degrees
or more.
We're like shedding light. We're like in our t-shirts with the windows down, driving through a blizzard, dying of heat. And like everyone else on the road is like, obviously their windows are not down and they have their full like parkas and beanies and gloves, and we're just like in our t-shirts with arms on the windows, just blasting the defroster,
living your best trucker life.
But yeah, we could watch, like we could measure how the frost would start to get more and more towards the center of the windshield, and we kept doing all these tricks trying to like get it to defrost a little faster.
So Noah brought out a can of toothpaste and was like smearing it on the outside of the window, hanging out of the car. That's not true.
I started like leaning forward and just
I'll do it myself.
But like I thought Michael was just kind of being silly and like driving all over the road, trying to spin us out.
What a goof.
What a goof. And
just driving down I-80 as willy-nilly as possible.
And finally, I think we both accepted, like, oh, the traction here is non-existent. And then we saw a semi-truck flipped over in a ditch, and then like a few miles more, we saw a pickup truck in the ditch. And that's that's a scary thing when you see like, oh, someone just in front of us ran off the road and flipped their giant vehicle. And then every time Michael starts to like twitch the wheel a little bit and you start to fishtail a little bit, it's like, but we didn't stop. We didn't even consider stopping, or like
we just stopped for that bathroom break where I bought fluid because I thought we were going to need it with how much we were using. But I didn't even open it. It's at home unopened right now. But yeah, we didn't stop.
I have some more in my laundry room over there if you need any.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
just load up on it.
But I think it was finally like in the afternoon once things had melted and it wasn't actively snowing and the windshield was totally clear that we were like, that was really bad. That was really... I started to text the whole thing to Jesse, and then I was like, she doesn't need to know this. I don't want. What good will this do me or her?
She will know when I am home safely and we're both warm under a blanket and go, hey, just so you know.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think. It was either the next day or it might not have been till we got home. I got home that I was like, yeah, I didn't really tell you, but
we almost died.
It was really bad.
And I think our first stint of the drive was impressive, that we made it from Fairbanks all the way to Joliet, Illinois, which is a fantastic town. They're great people. The people of Joliet love me. They're so nice. Great hotels. But that's how far we made it, so we had 4 hours to drive in the morning of the next day, right? So we made it like 13-ish or more hours.
Yeah.
The first day, given the conditions.
Yeah,
I think that was pretty good.
That is impressive. Joliet, randomly in when I worked at a different job, I would do the social media for like a mechanic in Joliet, Illinois.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So anytime someone mentions Joliet, all I can think of is like, oh yeah,
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, well, there is a town like across the interstate
And it's called Romeo.
from Joliet called it's either Romeo or Romero, but
Romeo and Joliet.
yeah, but they're right next to each other. Am I allowed to dox the kind of car you drive?
So I didn't drive my car. I drove my mom's car. Does that change anything?
That does change, because I figured you were in the Honda Pilot, and then I was going to say that you now have, or we have all had harrowing weather experiences in a Honda Pilot, because I got stuck in a landslide in a Honda Pilot.
I have the picture of that still on my phone.
But dang it, you didn't take the Honda Pilot.
I didn't. It has a power steering leak that my parents are convinced is terminal, and the car is going to die.
It would have been terminal. Well, they were right.
But we took a much newer 2015 Subaru Forester, red in color, license plate,
VIN number.
Here's the VIN.
License plate baller.
Do a Carfax on it, but for Noah's and I's comfort, that has been the road trip vehicle. Put over 8,000 miles myself on it. I don't know the exact total. It was over 5,000 for the previous trip, and then this one was about 2,400. So I think that, like, the last trip was at least over 5,000. I think it was more though. So I think about 8,000 miles in 4 months.
It's your oil changed.
Yeah, it's not for.
Oh, is it? Shoot.
Probably should.
And the bottle says 10,000 on it.
Well, the only other thing that I wanted to mention, because I'm super excited about it, is my next upcoming trip. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm going to Costa Rica in a couple weeks, but the trip that I'm like super stoked about, I get to go to the National Pygmy Goat Convention in Porterville, California.
Yes.
And I'm super stoked about it. I know. Well, a year ago I knew nothing about pygmy goats. But
now you know more about pygmy goats than any one person should.
Now I know quite a bit about pygmy goats and pygmy goat shows. For one of my clients, we're doing a project that the project will be used at this upcoming convention, and so the client offered to fly me out and also fly Jesse out to this convention, and so I get to watch. It's like a 3-day thing. I get to watch a bunch of like every age. Like I think it's down to 2 years old to adult. They have different classes for showing these goats, and then the judges will judge each individual goat. And there's all kinds of classes. Like there's about 30 or 40 different classes the goats get sorted into based on their like gender and age and how many times they've won shows before. And like I didn't grow up with any of this, like doing any kind of animal shows or anything. Yeah. So the whole world is totally new to me, but a whole new world. I don't understand that reference.
He wasn't allowed to watch that show.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to.
She was too. Yeah, her midriff was showing a bit too much.
But yeah, I'm super excited. Like pygmy goats, if you just Google videos, they're just so cute. They're just like the funniest little things. They're tiny, and they're like little puppies, but they're goats. They're little puppy goats.
They're little like little puppies.
So do they pee blood when they're scared?
Do they what?
Pee blood.
Probably sometimes. I'll get back to you after the summer. I'll let
Frighten
you know.
one and see what happens.
If the show goes badly enough, then yeah.
yeah.
yeah. I can see that.
I'm fascinated to hear about this because my girlfriend Lydia, she showed alpacas growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's told me about that, and it's a very fascinating experience. And like she had friends that would show other animals too, so she would do that sometimes. But she grew up on an alpaca farm, and subsequently would go to alpaca shows.
Huh.
And when she would tell me about it, I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. It is like an entirely different world of like just kind of the agricultural side of things.
So they have them like weave through the sticks and stuff, and like the teeter totter,
with the long neck, just bobbing and weaving. We're definitely going to need an update on the Pygmy Goat convention.
Maybe I'll record a live segment from the dome, the battle dome, where they put all the Pygmy Goats in a dome and fight to the death.
Welcome to Pygmy Goat.
It's like Beyblades.
Battle Royale.
It's like BattleBots. It's like a big like glass chamber.
32 Pygmy Goats enter. Only one shall leave.
Gosh.
But Ben, you've been silent over there.
No, I haven't.
I don't think
I said a word this whole podcast.
I was looking at the whatever they're called, the waveforms, and there was a stretch where you both had stuff on the waveforms, and my row was completely silent, and I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened. That's the first time I've gone more than, like, I don't know, probably 2 minutes without saying anything.
Even outside of the podcast.
Even outside of the podcast, I talk in my sleep. I just wake up every 2 minutes, actually.
Oh,
just
that's
scream
terrifying.
at the top of my lungs and then go back to bed. But no, it's been a very good, very busy month. No, it's been several months. As I mentioned, my girlfriend Lydia, we were talking at the start of the new year for January, and I was like, babe, what do you think our word for the month of January should be that we just focus on as a couple and we just carry that through? It's like not like a New Year's resolution, but just like for this month, what are we going to focus on together?
And that word was noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com. No, and she was like, I think the word should be balance because we've been very busy and active as of late, and it would be nice to have some balance in our schedule for, time to just relax and spend time with each other. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. And we did an excellent job in the month of January of being balanced. And then February rolled around, and now our
rolled around.
No, the month of February rolled around, and it's now completely busy again, and there's no balance whatsoever. So we did good for 1 month, and I'm glad that was the goal for that month. But now everything's back to being hectic all of the time. But no, it's been great. I think the highlight for me, there's been a lot of really good moments over these past 5 months. But a nonprofit that Noah and I have worked with, it's called Half Step Ministries. It's a music ministry, and it's a great time. And over the past few months, I've had the wonderful opportunity to kind of step in as one of the interim directors of it. So taking on more responsibilities.
Bigger paycheck.
No. Did you forget the non-profit part of it? But yeah, just stepping into more of like an administrative role of something that I love so much. And that's been a lot of fun doing that. But then on top of that, in December, we were thinking of, end of year, we like to have a fundraiser once a year for Half Step, and we haven't done one yet. So what should we do? And I was like, what if we just had like a real fancy gala, like actual people do?
It's pronounced gala.
It's pronounced gala.
It's gala.
Because we're not eating an apple. It's a gala apple.
Oh.
It's a gala ball? I don't know.
Gala gala? It's a gala gala?
It's a gala gala. And so I had suggested we should call it the non-Christmas Christmas Gala so that we could have a gala around Christmas, but not have it necessarily be Christmas themed. So we were talking about
how inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a holiday gala. No, but I was talking about it because my roommates Abby and Braden started Half Step. They were the directors of Half Step. Still are in many ways. I'm just taking over more different things. And so I was talking with them, and then at one point Abby was like, okay, but what are we actually going to call it? And I was like, oh, I don't think you understand. Like, I was dead serious about calling it the non-Christmas Christmas Gala. And she was like, no. We're not calling it that.
What are you, Elon Musk, not a flamethrower?
We're not calling it that. That's a really stupid name. So then we got in a big fight, as Abby and I do. No, we didn't get in a big fight. We just argued back and forth respectfully And then this went on for about 3 days of us having no ability to decide what we were going to call it. So we brought it up at one of our weekly meetings with the other leaders at Half Step. And again, we got into oh, we could call it this, we could call it this, and nobody can decide. And then Zach, one of the other leaders, just goes, let's just call it the Frosty Half Step Shindig. And we were all so exasperated at that point. We were just like,
great.
Yeah, that's the name of it now. Yes. We have decided. Yes. It's the Frosty Half Step Shindig. So we organized and put on, we'd sold 130 seats, which was completely sold out. A coffee shop here in town was generous enough to lend us their space completely free of charge. So we were able to charge a very small amount for the Frosty Half Step Shindig, just all together for food and everything. And we had music, because Half Step is a music ministry, so we had the students perform music. We had a local artist play some songs. He did amazing. And then the leaders, Noah was a part of the band. We played some songs for the crowd. And it was just so much fun planning this fancy event and doing all these really cool things. We had a silent auction, which Noah and Jesse made Lydia and I very furious at, because for the silent auction, Lydia and I put together a date night package, and it had a DoorDash gift card. It had a Lego set in it. It had
Lego gummies. Yeah, that's what I was after.
It had Lego gummy candy. It had other bags of candy in it. It had popcorn in it. It had just some pampering, face mask, sugar scrub things in it,
which I brought for us to do tonight.
Oh, perfect!
After this.
Yeah.
Well, I set up the massage table already.
Exactly.
Guys,
yeah, the massage table's ready to go. But Lydia and I put this basket together, and then immediately went, "Oh, we just want that because that sounds like a good time." So I think the starting bid was $15, $20-ish. So we bid on it, and we're like, okay, no one else will outbid it. And then somebody outbid it, and we're like, oh, darn. And Noah and Jesse come up to us, and they're like, hey, we bid on the date night basket. Lydia just came down the stairs into the basement.
And she's already mad at me.
And she's already mad because it's infuriating.
Lydia, there's a sandwich in the fridge with your name on it.
Yeah.
Actually, it says number 4 on it.
Yeah.
But
Lydia's name is number 4. And then, so we bid $30 or something on it, and then it was to $40, and then we bid $50 on it. And then I went up and announced something because I was emceeing the event, and I came back and checked my phone, and it was user 189 for whatever bid $200 on the date night basket. And I was like, what the heck?
I had to go play music, so I'd given Jesse my phone and told her, money is no object.
I had to go play music.
And then I had to explain to Lydia that I don't think we should spend, because we put the basket together, I wasn't going to buy it twice for $250. So I was like, I'm very sorry, babe. We're not gonna get our date night basket. We'll just have to sit silently alone. And that was Noah's fault.
Yep.
That we had to do that.
We had a great time. We built the set. We ate all the candy.
Yeah, and then because afterwards we were like, oh yeah, we could do something together. We could, I don't know, have a movie night and do some of the things. And then 3 days later they texted us and were like, basket's gone. Get wrecked.
We used it all.
We used it all.
Ratio.
But no, it's just, that was probably the highlight of the last 5 months, just doing that event. And then I'm a big fan of Christmas, so then doing Christmas after that, getting to celebrate Christmas in a new way than I ever had before, because I'm dating somebody, so I got to spend Christmas with her family and do stuff with them. Oh, who? Oh, Lydia. She's sitting in a chair right now eating Jimmy John's.
Oh, that's Lydia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you bring pickles? Okay. No pickle boy? Aw, sad.
For the sandwich?
What? Her dog.
Sorry.
Her dog's name is Pickles.
You can order them, you know.
They'll give you pickles.
Anyway, sorry. So yeah, and doing Christmas, and then we went on a trip to South Dakota from Fairbanks, Alaska, to visit Lydia's mom, and that was so much fun getting to go on a road trip together for the first time, and we went to a number of great shops in Rapid City, South Dakota. The best one we went in was this thrift store called the Thrift Store, and I love a store that is just straight into the point.
To the point, yeah.
You don't have to question what it is. And we went in there, and what was fascinating about the thrift store is that not only did they have like thrifted goods that you could shop from, but because Rapid City is a relatively smaller town, they also sold like not groceries, but just condiments, non-perishable goods that people had. I don't know if they donated them or whatever, but there were no like fruits or anything. But we found a bag of Nerds gummy clusters, which is our favorite like together candy. We eat it plenty. And what was great about this bag of Nerds gummy clusters is that it was a 5-pound like industrial fill, one of those quarter rotate, put a quarter in, you get a handful of candy out of it bags. And it was $4 for a 5-pound bag. And we were like, if we go to a gas station on the way home and get like a gas station size bag of Nerds gummy clusters, it's also going to be $4.
Wait, but this was at a thrift store?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, okay. It's a great time. And so we bought it. And I think just like this past week, we ran out of the 5-pound bag of Nerds gummy clusters. So we need to go back to South Dakota and get another one of those.
I mean, you should calculate if gas, like, is it cheaper to drive to South Dakota and get the big bag of Nerds gummy clusters?
I mean, maybe we only stopped for gas once, I think. So when you fill up a gas tank for $50 around there. No? I'm being told no. More? Oh, never mind. This probably isn't worth it.
It's just now occurring.
But I was taking this very seriously. We could get there and back in like 11 hours. It's worth a day trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just been a fun few months of doing new and exciting things that I've never done before, and it's been great. And I've loved it. So,
speaking of new and exciting things. Do I hear? Is that a phone ringing? Is that?
It could be. Do we have a speak pipe?
Is that who could possibly be leaving us a speak pipe?
Hello, Brian and Gizmo Stanley from the Journey of Kitty Cats podcast. It's been a while since I've heard of updates from the two of you, Ben and Noah. So I thought I would just jump in and at least give updates for me. As listeners of the show may know, there have been plenty of times where I have been held captive in Noah's basement. So this time I decided to pull a fast one on Noah and hold him captive in our basement. I was able to be successful for that for one full day, and then he managed to thwart Caitlin and I by swapping his spot with some other weirdo. And once I figured out it wasn't Noah anymore, I kept trying to get this weirdo to get out of our apartment, but he just would not go. He kept claiming to be like a doctor and like doing medical procedures. And he kept trying to take, our numbers or our levels. It was very odd. Not only that, he was sort of suspicious. He kept going back and forth across the border. And at one point, he even made a scene at a gift shop just so he could get me a calendar I already owned. Eventually, I was able to get this kind of odd person out of here. But don't think that this doesn't mean that I won't be able to get Noah back into our basement. So, hope to see you again soon. Bye.
And I guarantee you Caitlin was cooking dinner while he was recording that. So that was something she said. Like, I can't remember what Brian was doing. Something Brian-ly. But while Caitlin was cooking, she's like, this is how it typically goes. I'm here cooking in the kitchen. Brian's off in the corner recording a speak pipe. The calendar, though.
Tries it took him. Yeah, tell us the story.
Okay. Look, it's my resolution in each hospital that I go to, because I've been to like 11 hospitals in the last year and a half, to buy something from the gift shop. Often it's socks, very giftable, very good.
Shop local.
Shop local, feed the beast. But it's a new year. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I was looking for calendar deals.
Are you feeling good?
No. So I went to the gift shop and they had calendars finally marked down half off. And I said, that's amazing. I will take two of them, one for myself, one for my mom. I did that. And then the week later, I'm walking by the gift shop and there's a sign out that says, calendars, 75% off. And I said, that's rude. So I went back the next day, brought my calendars, got them refunded, bought 3 calendars for the price of 2, which was for the price of 1, if you would. And I got Brian one because I was like, I'm losing money not buying calendars. So I got him a Sasquatch one because I got a sense that he's a Sasquatch kind of guy. Don't read into it, but I left the calendar on the desk for him to take, and as he's helping me, bless his heart, at 3 a.m., load up the car for me to get going in the morning, he looks at the calendar perplexed, and I go, yeah, that's for you. He goes, my parents gave me this exact same calendar. And I said, that sucks, see ya. Got in the car, and I spun the car in Illinois, and I got home in one day.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Brian, for letting us know about Noah's escape and his bait and switch of leaving somebody else in his place. We'll figure that out. We'll send him back to you to rectify that, to make up for that. If you want to leave us a speak pipe, you can go to noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
And you can click the button that says leave us a speak pipe. And I think the color's orange. And yeah, there's a light in my room that's flickering. No,
there's lightning entirely localized in Ben's bedroom.
It's silent. It's fine. Also, if you turn on the light in the bathroom, if ever you need to use the bathroom, that one flickers too. Welcome to the basement. It's a good time.
Lydia, earlier Ben was like, hey, we're in my basement this week, so if you hear children screaming, don't worry about it. That's normal here.
No, I said if you hear children screaming and pounding, it's normal here.
That's true.
And she says it's true.
Yeah.
It's only concerning if it comes from below us. The screaming and pounding coming from above us is fine.
That's normal. That's okay.
Well, it's been great catching up with you guys. Now get out of my basement. No, I'm kidding. I hear we have a game that's been prepared for us. And Noah, have you prepared us a game?
I have prepared us a game.
Oh, terrific.
I guess we could also say, as a piece of administration, I don't want us to commit to anything, but this episode we were mostly catching up on the last few months, but we might have more episodes coming in the near future.
Happy President's Day.
Happy President's Day.
Our gift to you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, are we releasing this on Monday? Happy President's Day.
Yeah, Monday's release day.
That's true.
I'm going to force all the kids at Half Step to listen to it.
So next time you tune in, we'll only have 2 weeks to catch up on instead of months and months. So it'll be great.
There'll be more games.
More games, more female representation.
Hopefully.
Than this episode, which is Lydia, and we didn't give her a mic, so...
Yeah. I did say, hey, Lydia will be around. Do we want her on the podcast? And Noah said no.
That's not what I said.
What? Lydia says she also would have said no.
Oh, well, I should have let her say it then.
I was like, I haven't asked Lydia yet because I wanted to check with you guys first, but I mean, she'll be around, so if you want her on the podcast... And Noah was like, just the 3 of us.
Come on, Ben.
What's
the deal? This is a game.
He thought that was the funniest thing.
Everything I said this episode is just met with dead silence. What's the deal is a game we've played on this show many a time. I was going to prepare Florida Man, and I looked up all the stories, and they were all too sad. So we're doing What's the Deal? I am going to say, what's the deal with something? And then, Ben, Michael, you have to tell me, what's the deal? These are all based on real articles from the Associated Press. Okay.
Okay.
We'll start with
Ding ding.
Ben, because he hasn't gotten to talk as much this episode.
I'm
Ben,
working on it.
What's the deal with Scottish cats?
Ooh, what's the deal with Scottish cats? Well, very interesting thing with Scottish cats is they have.
Can you do this? Can you speak like a Scottish cat as you give your answer, please? No additional points. It's just for That's not what I
Sorry,
thought.
Ben, that's incorrect. Like a Scottish cat. Like a cool cat.
I thought he was getting...
Oh, is it not like a four-legged feline?
It's up to your interpretation.
Oh, well, I was going to say they have a very specific pattern to their coat that is distinguishable as a human fingerprint is. So in Scotland, they are using, because there are so many stray cats, they're starting to register the cats in a database using their markings as sort of a fingerprint of sorts, so they can keep better track of the whereabouts of these stray cats and like whether they are friendly, whether they are mean, whether they are, they're stray cats, they're all mean, but whether they're mean in a way that you can approach them or mean in a way that you should not approach them.
That's good. That's well reasoned. I like it. Michael.
There have been some breakthrough studies in the Journal of American Veterinary Medicine and Scottish Veterinary Medicine, for that matter. And they found out exactly why cats pee blood when they get upset and scared. But you have to subscribe to their journal to find out why, because I don't know. It's paywall. I don't have money to do that.
Someone once taught me how to get around a paywall, and that was Brian Stanley. All right. So Michael says cats are peeing blood. They figured out why. Ben is saying cats have unique prints.
Yes.
What's the deal with Scottish cats? Well, it's the era of misinterpretation, lack of context, and only reading the headline without diving further into the article. Citizens of Scotland were recently alarmed after a misquoted and misunderstood article led them to believe that cats might be banned from the country entirely. What would you do, Ben? If cats were banned from the U.S., would you move to save Madalena?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
wait. What was the misleading headline?
Okay, so apparently cats are responsible. I forget the number, but it was like they're responsible for the deaths of like 700,000 birds a year, and it was like big enough to be a problem.
I feel like Windows probably kill more.
Yeah.
Like Bill Gates.
Yeah, Windows 10, Windows 8.
Yeah, Windows 8 was so bad, people were just helicoptering their laptops out a door and hitting birds.
So it sounds like the country of Scotland wanted to do some things to bring down like the number of loose cats, or maybe not allow outdoor cats where they had to be contained indoors, things like that. All hypothetical, but I think it was Daily Mail ran an article that was like, will all cats be banned from Scotland? And then people got upset. As happens.
Yeah.
As far as who gets the point,
I gotta say,
Research article?
no, I gotta say, as far as figuring out which cats are killing birds and not, is pretty close to what I said.
you know what? That's fair. I'm giving it to Ben. Point to Ben. That's
Take
all right.
that.
He's conflating calico cats and Scottish cats.
Well, if you
not
conflate them too
conflating
much, they'll blow up.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, here's your chance to catch back up.
He needs to go to bed.
Yeah, that was a long day. Michael, what's the deal with googly eyes?
What the googly eyes? Okay, look, we can joke all we want. How it's awkwardly silent that the heater's turned off. There's been a lot of tariffs lately. Let's be real. Okay, let's talk about it. And lately, tariffs have been placed on many countries: Canada, Mexico, faced with retaliation. Colombia,
China.
Yeah.
China.
They were threatened.
And these countries are also known as the world's biggest producers of googly eyes. Well known fact,
heard that.
lots of oil in googly eyes, petroleum-based products. That's how they get them black. So the problem is the tariffs have caused a googly eye shortage, and we may never see googly eyes again in this country until we produce them on domestic soil.
It's very eye-opening.
We choose to make googly eyes.
We choose.
Our children will never know the joys of Chinese-made googly eyes.
Correct.
Or Canadian-made. Ben.
So fun fact, now that TikTok's unbanned, at least for now, there is a new global TikTok trend of if you're at a sporting event or a meeting or any sort of public gathering of people, you're sitting behind someone who's bald.
Okay, so we harass people.
That's what people on TikTok do. They harass people. The trend is you carry around googly eyes and you try to, as gently, sneakily, covertly as possible, adhere the googly eyes to the back of the bald person's head. And then it makes for a funny bit of content that's very engaging.
Is this like when Kimball would try to do that game where we'd clothespin each other in high school?
Yeah, that was a fun game. I love that game. I've since figured out that's very popular at like bachelorette parties.
Oh.
Do you go to a lot of bachelorette parties?
No, but I know people who do, namely my mother in the 80s. So
All right. Can't argue there.
Well, Ben, I think I have to give the point to you again because in Central Oregon, a man recently admitted to placing googly eyes on many structures and sculptures around the city. While meant to be harmless and as a way of, quote, coping with some pretty heavy stuff, end quote, the city was not happy and claimed to have spent over $1,500 removing the googly eyes.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
And the googly eyes were causing damage to the structures.
That's what Elon Musk is investigating. Why did we spend $1,500 removing googly eyes?
It sounded like the adhesive was like causing
that
some
makes sense.
wear and tear. And
so basically, this whole story is like men will do X instead of going to therapy.
Yeah, men will place googly eyes all over Central Oregon.
Men will cause property damage with googly eyes instead of going to therapy. Well, I hope that guy found fulfillment in his googly eye placement in light of his heavy stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably got fined or something for that. I hope the fine was less negativity in his life than the positivity of putting googly eyes all over town.
It's a small price to pay.
And I'm sure other people got joy out of it too.
Exactly.
When I spray painted the Walmart, I think a lot of people liked that.
Are there any pictures on that article?
Yeah, I will post
Cool.
a picture on the website at noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
All right, final question. Ben's up 2-0. Michael, you have to give me a really good answer.
Yeah, you have to get it exactly right.
Michael, what's the deal?
Whoa.
Ben,
I go
Thank
first.
you.
We're back to cats. I was kind of on a cat kick at 5:00 this afternoon when I finished work late and needed to prepare a game to come over here. That's why I was late. Ben, what's the deal with flying cats?
What's the deal with flying cats? Oh, well, you have heard it said that I'll believe it when pigs fly. But I say this. Pigs fly all the time on airplanes. But you know who doesn't? Cats. Because when people move, they just set them free in their homes because nobody actually wants to travel with a cat to a new home. And what's going on is so many people are moving and abandoning their cats that to help aid with that, the federal government has partnered with various airlines, Southwest, Frontier, Delta, Cat,
Emirates.
Emirates, to provide a cheaper alternative to like checking a bag or doing whatever to properly transport a cat. So these cats be flying, because of money
Michael
not being spent to get the cats to new homes.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love it when the government steps in and helps our cats fly. Michael.
I promise you, there's nothing better cooked up for me, except that author, creator of Nyan Cat, Haruki Murakami, has recently...
Was that who did that?
has recently announced that he's coming out with a new Nyan Cat, but instead of a Pop-Tart, It is French toast. I have nothing about it.
That's good. I liked
Instead
it.
of a rainbow, it's pooping out Skittles. Taste the rainbow.
Poop the rainbow. Lydia, do you know Neon Cat?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were too young.
Lydia, do you think you know the answer to this? No. Do you have any ideas? No. Terrific. If you got it right, you could tie me.
All right. What's the deal with flying cats? Mittens the cat, a Maine Coon, just like our friend Gizmo we've talked about on this show, was reportedly left behind in the cargo hold of an airplane traveling from New Zealand to Australia. He managed to travel back to New Zealand and then back to Australia once again before reuniting with, her family. Sorry, it's a her. The owner was told that the cat's crate had gotten hidden behind a stowed wheelchair and was not unloaded before the plane departed back to New Zealand. So the story has a happy ending, but that cat got 24 hours on a flight. It sounded like the pilot took extra care to, keep the cargo hold nice and heated up once he learned about the situation. And they made sure that cat got reunited with its owner. That 80-pound Maine Coon.
So who gets the point?
I'm sorry, Michael. I don't think Michael can make a case for himself. Ben, I think you had a perfect sweep. Woo! 3-0.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. For my speech, I would like to give a shout out to my cat, Madalena. You did good. But now that cats are banned in the country, and I am not moving, so you're going to have to stay here in this basement and fend for yourself. But no, thank you all so much for listening. Noah, thank you so much for preparing an excellent game. Michael, thank you so much for at least trying in the game, I guess.
Happy President's Day.
Happy President's Day, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing about your travels and all the fun times you had.
Of course.
Thank you all so much for listening, because we're all winners here at Noodles at Noon. So even you listeners win. My mom won because she's hopefully asleep by now. So shout out to you, Karen. And do you guys have anything you'd like to add?
Caitlin, please let us know your perspective of the last 4 weeks of January.
Perfect.
And the first 4 weeks of January. I phrased that really weird. You know what I mean.
You know it.
Just call.
Yeah.
Call us, please.
Caitlin, please just call.
Caitlin, please call me.
Let me know what I did wrong.
I'm not invited back. That's all I'm saying.
I noticed I was. Brian said I was welcome back.
No, anything you'd like to add?
I'm glad to be back. It's been a long 5 months.
It has.
Sitting in the closet waiting for someone to come do a podcast with me.
Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we hope you do have a great President's Day. And we'll see you later. Bye. Madalena, no, you dork. Aw, she scratched up the massage table.
Sorry, I shouldn't have put it together.
I'm going to be like this loud.